All right.
Jessi, so you were referred to me by somebody in my Arizona Obesity Organization board, but I am not your doctor. We've never met, so it's great to meet you tonight. So I hear you have a really cool story about your personal journey with obesity. So I'm just kind of curious, like, what went down here and what it was like for you, like your personal experience with it.
I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily describe it as cool. When Chantel said that, I was like, oh, somebody wants to talk to me. So I guess, I mean, I've pretty much always been overweight, like since I could remember. I think the last time I was actually probably in weight was probably when I was 4. I saw a photo. And so I've always been a bigger person. And growing up, you know, in high school, it was, people would say things and everything like that, but I kind of just continued on with my life. And so I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and when I moved out here, I was 180 pounds. But then when I came out, I was under a lot of work stress. I was under a lot of personal stress. I discovered Filiberto's. That was like my stress eating meal. And I very quickly started to balloon up. And so I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't doing anything like that. And about 3 years ago, through my work health insurance, I found out that dietitians are paid for. So I first started out with a dietitian, and I had heard about GLP-1s, but I was never really interested in that. I kind of almost felt like if I just put enough energy into it, if I go to the gym, if I stop eating the way that I'm doing, or if I reduce the stress, like I could probably do this on my own. And so I really just stuck with just the dietitian, and I started going to the gym. And then last year, around like March or so, I went to a dance class at my gym, and the instructor really loved squats. She made us do like 50 squats in the entire thing. One of them was like an extended squat for 30 seconds. I thought I was gonna die. I made it through the class. 2 days later, my knee was swollen. I thought I had a meniscus tear, right? I go, I get x-rayed, I get the MRI, and the doc comes back and goes, so good news, not a meniscus tear. Bad news, you have no more meniscus. And you have definite arthritis. But we cannot schedule a knee replacement for you until you lose the weight. And at that point, I was faced with the decision of clearly what I was doing wasn't working, and now I have this pain. I can't even walk up and down stairs. I'm only 41, so okay, fine, let's do it.
It wasn't working? Like,
Just,
I mean, following a good diet and exercising is healthy.
nope. I was
Were
not
you-
moving the scale at all, and it was actually
You weren't
something.
losing any weight with it.
No, and
Okay.
it's something that I was talking about with my dietitian because it was really frustrating, right? I'm meeting with her on a bi-weekly basis. I was never a big fast food person at all. My only vice was the Filiberto's. And I love vegetables, right? I was doing all the things that I thought was right and going to the gym at least 2 times a week, and that stupid scale would not move, right? And so that's when I decided to do the shot. And
But I should say, again, that what you were doing was good work. You were getting healthier and you were being healthier, even if you weren't moving the scale.
yeah, I was looking at things like non-scale victories, you know, so the thing is that my blood work was never really terrible. I didn't have high triglycerides. I had an A1C of about 5.7 at one point, and then through working with the dietitian, it went down to 5.4. And, you know, my numbers look good. I have low blood pressure anyways. And so I always tell my family who They're not so great at, acceptance of my weight, and they like to make small comments. And so one of the things that I would tell them all the time is metabolically, besides the weight, I'm probably healthier than all of you because my numbers most likely are better than yours. So I may be in a bigger body, fat may be immune to you, but I have better blood pressure than you do, type thing. So yeah, really now in conjunction with my dietitian and the GLP and the gym and putting it all together, I'm finally actually starting to see movement.
So I think one of the important statistics I share with my patients, and this was your situation exactly, is that about 50% of people with a diet and exercise program can lose up to 5% of their body weight. And this is across many studies. That's not very much weight, by the way, right? The other 50% of people can't even get there. It's either no weight loss or they actually build some muscle and they gain weight. And so, but again, I don't want to minimize how healthy that is for you because that's really awesome. It's essential to do that. But that's the story of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were faced with this knee arthritis, totally worn out. You couldn't get surgery without medication.
Right.
So is that when you decided to start medication?
Yeah, so at that point, I really had like a kind of mental thing because I don't ever look at people who take the shot as somebody taking the easy way out. You do have to do the work with it too. You can't just take it and then boom, that's it, and continue on with your more unhealthier lifestyle. I understand all of that stuff. Plus, I'm also a paramedic by trade. So I also do understand a lot of medical to a certain extent. I'm not a doctor though. When I decided to go on the shot, I've been very conservative with it. While the doctor who has told me that she's comfortable with upgrading me, I take my measurements every Sunday, which is my shot day. I'm measuring by inches as well as the scale itself. And to me, I will not move up a level until I have at least like 2-3 months of stall. And then I look at to myself.
Talking about a dose increase.
Right.
Okay.
And then I also look at, have I been going to the gym regularly? What have I been eating? What are my outside factors? Am I on my period? Do I have, like extra stress? And so right now I'm only on 5 milligrams when really I've been on the GLP-1 for a year. And a lot of people in my department, they scaled up so fast. And when I tell them what I'm on, I'm like, listen, I'm still losing anywhere between 1 to 2 pounds a week. And that, from what I'm told, is normal. And so
That's actually pretty cool.
Until
Okay.
I start losing that and until I stall, I'm almost like refusing to go up.
Okay.
Because I don't necessarily want to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's an interesting mindset. The dose adjustment is totally personalizable.
Mm-hmm.
You could go up as fast as once a month or as slow as you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you're not being too hard on yourself, are you? By like saying, I have to reach this goal on my own, and if I don't do it, I'm going to punish myself by not, I don't know. I
don't think
I just
so.
don't want you to be too hard on yourself.
No,
there.
I don't think so, because even when I went back and I did my follow-up with my orthopedic doctor, I've now lost enough weight for him to schedule that surgery. But now he's like, yeah, but if you're losing the weight, technically you lose like, what is it? I think it's 20 pounds of pressure for every 5 pounds of body fat that it is.
It's about a 4-time factor.
So he's told me, he's like, you've almost lost 100 pounds of pressure off that knee joint. You're still young. The equipment only lasts about 10 to 15 years. I don't want to do an extra surgery on you. If you can continue losing this, I would like to push off the surgery as long as possible. And I will admit, I'm okay with that. I am a little bit annoyed with that because that's the main catalyst of why I went on the GLP, right? But at the same time, I'm not gonna lie, my knee does feel better. And the other month, I was able to walk down the stairs without even freaking out that it was gonna lock and I was gonna
Yeah.
fall down. And so I know it is helping, and I try not to be hard on myself. And also my dietitian and I, we talk about that stuff too. So we talk about the mindset and everything, so.
Let me clarify that number or just describe it a little bit more.
Okay.
So for every pound of body weight, just like you were saying, it's estimated that there's 4 times the force on your joints.
Okay.
So you lose 4 pounds, sorry, you lose 1 pound of body weight, that's 4 pounds off of your joint
Okay.
stress,
Okay.
just like you were saying.
Yeah.
But there's other things with arthritis. If you look at some of these charts that analyze the arthritis factor, there's inflammation, there's erosion of the joint, there's non-weight factors that are obesity related that are thought to cause accelerated arthritis. So obesity really is a huge risk factor for arthritis. 41 is really young to wear a knee out.
To be fair, I was a skier, a ski instructor, I played soccer, and I've been in EMS for over 20 years lifting people. So I haven't exactly been the kindest to my knees.
That happens.
So,
All right.
yeah.
So you're still losing weight?
Yeah,
1 to 2 pounds a week?
about there.
That's pretty dang cool.
I had a little bit of a stall for the last couple of weeks, but I've been extremely under a lot of pressure at work the last few weeks, and I wasn't going to the gym the last few weeks. My big thing is I love swimming laps. Plus, that also helps that it's easier on the joints.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't care. I can say numbers. I don't care. I started at 255,
Okay.
and I'm at 213 now.
Okay.
So, and yeah, every month, or every week, sorry,
Yeah, so
every week it is going down.
42 pounds off of 255. So you're almost 20% body weight.
I have not seen this number for a very long time.
Yeah, and you're still losing weight on the lower doses.
Yes.
So you're actually responding better than most of the people in the medical studies. Like
okay.
on average,
Okay.
the body weight loss with Wegovy is like 15 to 16%. And if you're hitting 20% on the lower doses, you could keep going with your weight loss.
That's kind of interesting because I know at a certain point, you know, early on when watching videos or TikToks or whatever it is, you know, there's that whole idea of the super responder and then the non-responder and the regular responder. And so I did kind of have that in my mind a little bit where I was like, well, I don't know, some of these other people probably falling into that typical mindset of if I don't see it drop fast, then am I not really responding as well? So I did kind of a little bit have to adjust my mental expectations to the 1 to 2 pounds a week is great. And I don't need to, I saw somebody refer to it as chase the skinny. And so, you know, like I said, even when my doctor goes, well, you know, you've been on 5 for a while, do you want to go up? And she leaves it as an option to me, but I keep just saying, no, I'm okay. I'm good until it stops working, until I stall out, I'm good. Even my dietitian told me, you know, it's okay if you want to go up. Like, don't hold yourself back per se, but I like how conservative you're being because you are still seeing results. So I don't know if that puts me in another bracket of interesting mindset, because a lot of times I see people where they do want to just keep going faster and faster. And I don't necessarily think that's the right way to go.
Yeah, I like your mindset. It seems like it's healthy.
Thank you. I try.
So yeah, so the average weight loss in the medical studies is about 2 to 3% per month.
Okay.
So usually that's 5 to 6 pounds per month. So you're totally hitting that.
Oh, great. Okay.
I think you should make your own decision on how fast you go up on your medicine.
Yeah, I do try to make it really data driven in a way, because I know even if there's a week that's there that I maybe don't see the pound loss, because I'm also measuring my bust, my waist, my stomach, hips. If I see that there's a little bit of change going on there, I know it's still doing something. And so, even though I might not see the scale move, I just have to keep reminding myself it's still there, it's still working, and still stick with it. But I do find it super interesting. On the 2.5, my thigh was the sweet spot, right? And now for injection.
For getting the injection? Okay.
For the injection. And now I've tried a couple times with the 5 milligram in my thigh, I will have 0 movement that week. So now it's the arm. So apparently my body might be metabolizing it in the different areas.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting. I almost feel like I waste a week if I actually go into the thigh now. But I think that that's also fun.
Okay. We've had this discussion between the obesity medicine specialist doctors, and there is no medical data to tell us what's going on differently.
Okay.
And we hear from patients what you're saying. Sometimes they say the thigh works better and it has less nausea. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they say what you said with your arm. And we just don't have any consistent experience with it.
Okay.
So do what works, I guess, on that. I mean, all 3 of those are acceptable sites for where to do the injection.
I know when reading the pamphlet, it said, if you have a lot of stretch marks or scarring or anything on the stomach, that obviously, and I also know from injections from just in general with the paramedicine, I know that those are less ideal places to go into as far as breaking down and absorption. But because I have a lot of the stretch marks on the front of my stomach, I've always considered that kind of a non-go area versus I don't have it in those other 2 areas. So that's really the only
that's a good point.
main reason why I
Yeah.
kind of chose those. I actually got my husband started on the GLP-1 too, but he had terrible numbers, terrible eating habits. And the numbers that he's been seeing on 2.5 have been really, really good. But he gets to go in his stomach. So he's like, I don't know if I could switch to the sites. I'm like, you'll be fine if you ever decide.
Do you have a lot of adipose tissue in your arms and legs?
Yes, I do, but that's a good point because this bracelet wouldn't ever fit before. And now I can actually move it. And another thing that I found is that my wedding ring, I used to actually have to kind of wiggle off a little bit more. And I can actually spin it around almost like a fidget ring. So I'm definitely losing it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting too.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. We have a lot of patients with what's called lipedema.
Okay.
And the body fat comes down to the wrists and down to the ankles and just stops there. And the hands are normal, the feet are normal. They get swelling, they get pain. And when they lose the weight, they don't lose a lot of weight in the arms and legs.
Okay.
But some people lose more than others. But the medicine actually really helps with that too.
Is there something, I did think of a question. So I do not have EDS, the Ehlers-Danlos. I don't have that, but I do have hypermobility.
Okay.
And so when I was going to the physical therapist, she also mentioned in the intake, because when she had to measure the angle of the knee, she asked me about that. And I've always had patellar instability and from all the various things that I did. So is there at any point yet any type of, I would assume there's probably some link with some inflammation somewhere in the body with hypermobility, because I'm curious about that. It came to my head for some reason.
Hypermobility causing inflammation and adipose tissue on the arms and legs?
Sure, yeah, because for instance, I've always had what I call fat knees, always, and it's excess around there. Yeah. And so now that you were talking about that, does that have, or have they found any type of connection or
I'm not the ultimate expert at lipedema, but we actually treat it a lot locally. I know other experts in other states and stuff that are better, but from what I know, there's a definite association between hypermobility and lipedema.
Okay.
So more people who have lipedema have hypermobility.
Okay.
And some people have the classic Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and other people just have some symptoms of it. But hypermobility is one symptom, and the spectrum of who has Ehlers-Danlos is huge. You could just have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have stretchy skin?
Yes, and I'm very flexible, and
Wow.
I can even like bend my fingers behind. And
'Kay.
actually, I had to train myself to actually stand properly, because
Instead
when
of
I stand,
hyperextending
it
your
will go
knees?
back. Yes.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
that's why I was curious if that
It's
actually
crazy.
contributed.
It's crazy how many people with lipedema have hypermobility.
Okay.
It's really common. I mean, it's just weird that it is almost across the board consistent.
Huh, that's interesting.
So I was going to ask you one more question. How long do you plan on being on medication?
You know, when I first started this, I said I was only going to go on it for a year. I was going to lose the weight until I could get the surgery. But now that they're telling me that the surgery, they don't really want to do it, and I'm still seeing results, I feel like I don't really have a particular reason to want to stop it. And for 2 weeks, I had to go off of it because I had to get a colonoscopy. And during those 2 weeks, not that I had a crazy amount of food noise before I started this process, but all of a sudden I could eat something and then it was almost as if I was immediately hungry again. Even though I knew I was full, even though I felt I was full, my brain was like, oh no, no. And I could tell the difference between the two. So I personally would like to get down to, at minimum, 180 again, at minimum, where I was. You were talking about set point before, and that's where I was for most of my life. But I don't necessarily see a reason to stop it if I'm still losing.
Well, let me give you a few tidbits here. It helps the arthritis.
Yeah.
So the weight loss alone
Okay.
Reduces the force on the knee, but the medication also reduces the arthritis in general. We think there might be anti-inflammatory effects. There's theories out there. We don't know for sure, but it does help.
Okay.
There's an arthritis trial with one of these newer medications coming out, and a huge benefit with the arthritis symptom scores.
Okay.
And so I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the science, with what we see with actually doing biopsies of the knee and looking at the pre and the post biopsies to see how much less inflammation there is or whatever.
Okay.
I think there's a direct effect on the arthritis.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
And okay, so that's one point. The second point, like you mentioned, I talk about the set point with people. If your set point is where you started at 245,
255.
255, right, and you lose down to 180, you've got a deficit there of 75 pounds, and your body is probably going to try to maintain that 255. It's going to do everything it can to make you feel starved until you reach going back up.
Gotcha.
And that happens with medication treatment, but it would happen if you lost weight just with diet and exercise alone.
Okay.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Especially when we don't want to be there.
And the maintenance of your weight loss is actually harder than losing the weight in the first place.
I say to people all the time, I'm like, it's just easier to stay fat. But I don't say fat in the sense of a derogatory thing towards myself. I don't necessarily say
it. It is hard work to lose weight.
I just think it's funny in the sense of like your body, if it gets used to that, it wants that.
So I would recommend staying on the medication long term.
Okay.
And that's where we see the best benefits. We see maintenance of weight loss with long-term treatment, and people who come off treatment, or again, if they stop their diet or exercise program, have a consistent weight regain. And that's bad.
Yeah.
So you're on a great path. I'm really excited about where your knee is.
Me too.
And I would totally support the idea of not doing that surgery until you absolutely need it. But it sounds like you're on a great path. I hope that you keep feeling the benefits, and I love this treatment, treating people, because people are actually getting better, like what you are, and it changes lives. Like, it's amazing that you aren't going to have to be a cripple now because of your knee arthritis.
Yes, that's the goal, at least.
Hopefully that holds in.
Sure, yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on with me and having the chat. I love hearing your story and hope that the future is even brighter for you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.